Did you know that currently 1 in every 5 people in the world are narcissists? And the numbers are growing higher. And they're not going higher just because human beings are increasing in number, but they're actually growing in the sense that the percentages are going up. So as the days go by, it's going closer to 1 in 4 people in the world, which means very soon a quarter of the world's population, literally, will be a populace of narcissists. I want to submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the manner in which Satan is achieving this is in targeting the younger generation. Because if you want to change the world, you have to go to the young generation, which has not yet formed, developed a mindset, developed a worldview, and create inside it a worldview that is necessary for propagating narcissism in the world in this context. According to science, the first 7 years of a child's development, or a child's life, represent the formative years of their life. During this time, they adopt the worldview, the mannerisms, the character, the discipline, which will take them forward throughout the rest of their lives. After this, it's not possible to introduce into them learning on a fundamental level. So you have 7 years with a child to form in them the sieve through which they will interpret everything else that comes after. A person who is very conscious to this fact is a narcissist. The Bible says, train a child in the way that it should go. When he is grown, he shall not depart from it. So the narcissist adopts this but uses it negatively because they understand in principle that it will work on a human brain. But they take that principle which God has set to execute for the devil evil in children. You need to ask yourself this question. Are your children safe? The moment they leave your house and you have exposed them to the world, do you really think they are safe? Just because you've handed them over to institutions or to people, these people are strangers to you. Do you really think they are safe? Of course, this is not to make you paranoid so that you do not cause your children to interact with the world, because inevitably, like it or not, children are made for the world. They are human beings. They have to go out there. But during these formative years, when they are totally dependent on their responsible adults for the information that they use to decipher everything that goes on around them, do you want them to be under people who you do not really know, who you have not vetted, whose worldviews you do not understand, whose character you don't truly grasp? Are you sure you want to lead them out into that space and just be hands-free, thinking that your children are just safe, as if the devil is not out there? A couple of years back, I met with this lady I had grown up with, and she had been recently reinstated back into a church that she had been kicked out of. The reason she had been kicked out of that church in the first place was that the minister at that time understood that this girl was a witch and that her family was very occultic. And during um, their wedding preparations, because this lady was supposed to get married to this guy, on the day, on D-Day, he just called the groom into his office and he said to him, I want to tell you something. Although you've commissioned me to join you in this marriage with this lady, I need you to know that I cannot in good conscience do it knowing what you're about to get yourself into, because you're marrying a witch. Now, whatever evidence he had garnered and showed to the groom was actually sufficient to cause the groom to storm out of the office and say straight to the face of this lady, the marriage is not happening, it's over. After which the minister excommunicated in front of the whole church, her whole family from the congregation. So the thing is, in this church system, because in the Presbyterian church system, a minister is shuffled after every 3 years. So the minister's time was due. He left, his replacement came. The replacement came and found Judy and reinstated her back into the church. After reinstating her back into the church, he gave her leadership over the Sunday school. Are you beginning to see where I'm going? Now, I won't even begin to talk about this minister in question because I can go very far, very deep and wide with him, because he had personal issues with me and I with him. Um, no, I don't want to make this post about that side of the story, but let me just mention it because I've introduced it. The youth from this church had invited me to a birthday party at one of their friends' house. And when we were having a good time there, just fellowshipping and, you know, enjoying the festivity, they started asking me, religious questions here and there. Based on how I answered them, they really begged me, they literally begged me to be coming and teaching them uh, the faith. And so we scheduled for 3 days a week. I used to go to church. It was not my official church at that time, although that's the church I grew up in. And I had been teaching them for a while until I realized why God had sent me there. Because this minister was initiating them into witchcraft. And he was doing it the way witches just do it and warlocks. You call a section of the leadership to your house and you initiate them. So some of them happened to tell me what was going on. And of course, I confronted the minister about his occultism and whatever he's doing, which was actually inconsistent with the church itself and the documentation of the church and the beliefs of the church and all these other things. Story for another day. But out of that, he had stopped me from attending and teaching his youth in quotes. So this same minister was the one who reinstated this witch back into his church and gave her authority to lead the Sunday school. Where is where your children go? And so my concerns as I raised them with the lady was, so are these the things you're teaching these kids? These things that you're telling me, these things that you're requiring of me? Of course, she affirmed that yes, those are the things that she was teaching them. Well, we couldn't work together anymore because it's just that I'm not giving details of what exactly we talked about, because I could fill a whole book with all those details. But it was just occultism, darkness, evil, seduction, threat, just stuck, everything that is stuck against Christianity. That is what was being introduced by this lady. And the cover, her narcissistic cover, was her brilliance, her attractiveness, her wealth, her status, because she had all those. So the point I'm making to you today is that you are giving your children over to very wicked people. These are very wicked spirits that are leading your children. The influences over them, the moment your hands off, are very wicked. Satan is hunting after people. And make no mistake about it, don't think for a second that he won't hunt after your children. When a narcissist is targeting people, he targets the vulnerable. And there's no one who is as vulnerable as a child, because a child is totally dependent on their responsible adult for everything. This lady in question that I'm talking to you about, she spoke of these spiritual experiences that she had with demons, and these initiations that he had even with her own mom, and all these things that were happening even with her dad, and it's just too much to get into. But basically, even with me, she used to send spirits my way. There are demons he used to send to come and convince me, to seduce me, to try and recruit me into her way of thinking. The last time, I think was the third time those demons came, they woke me up and stuff and started talking to me. And I was very pissed off. I was very angry. And I say to these spirits, like, who do you guys think you are? You come waking me up. You come into my house, into my bedroom. Who do you think you are? To wake me up to start telling me this nonsense. And so I rebuked them in the name of Jesus. I told them never to come back again. And whatever threats she had offered as a result of my refusals, I commanded them to meet them out on her. That's how I deal with these witches and warlocks. If you send them to me, I return them back to you. And the things you had sent them to do, I command them to do it to you. Anyway, so the next time we met, she didn't even want anything to do with me. We met on the road, and she just turned away and pretended she hadn't even seen me, because of course I had rejected her spirits, and they went and told her. So guys, this is the reality of what surrounds spirituality and narcissism. And the reason I'm conflating them is that any demonic spirit inevitably demonstrates the narcissistic spirit. Whatever we understand as narcissism in this world is demonstrated and is pushed by demonic spirits. So, of course, we fell out. We don't talk anymore. And the point I was just making for you today is that some of these things that you do, especially with kids, you need to be very deliberate, because kids are the target. They are very ripe for abuse. They don't even know what abuse is. So when they are getting abused, they wouldn't even know what to say. And when they are getting recruited and initiated, they wouldn't know better because they know nothing. And you'll be failing if you're just giving and handing over your children to people you do not know. Doesn't matter the institutions that those people are in. There are teachers who are occultists. There are preachers who are occultists. There are Sunday school leaders who are occultists. there are musicians who are occultists. Some of these kids come from homes where their parents are occultists. You need to be very hands-on with your children because the devil is targeting the next generation and he is out to develop more and more. I began this by giving you the ratios of narcissists to healthy people. And if it's going to a quarter of the world, meaning the numbers are increasing, that means recruitment is taking place, right? And don't make a mistake of thinking that your children are not a target. Okay. So with that, I just want to encourage you not to be paranoid because your children have to go to the world. But as they are forming, it is you that God gave the mandate to create in them a proper and a healthy worldview. Do not just give them over. Please share your stories below. You never know who can be who will receive help. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Share this content because you never know who it will deliver, who it will validate. Some people are going through these things, but they think they're the only ones going through them. So they are not able to find a voice. They're not able to speak out on these issues. But if you make this information available for your friends and your circles, then it becomes possible for them to find validation and empowerment to be set free from that narcissistic dynamic. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching and keep watching even the other playlists on the channel. All the best.